This telecast is available on ESPN2 HD, presented by Olivia. Well, we're at the last stop of the 2006 Lucas Oil Sportsman Series campaign, and oh, it's so bright you gotta have shades. You also gotta have plenty to eat, and you gotta have some fun. And we're gonna have plenty of that in the next hour as we close out 06. ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, presents exclusive coverage of the NHRA Lucas Oil Sportsman Drag Racing Series. Today, from Auto Club Raceway in Pomona, it's the 42nd running of the Automobile Club of Southern California Finals. And boy, it has been some great weather. We've seen some great racing, and we're going to close out the 2006 campaign. The championships have been decided, but that doesn't mean there's still not something up for grabs. It's called a Wally. It's called closing out your season on a winning note. And there's going to be two winners today that will do just that, an alcohol funny car and dragster. Hello again, everybody. I'm Marty Reed alongside with Bob Fry. And you would think that by the end of the season, we would have this all figured out, but we're still seeing a bunch of surprises.
Very intriguing weekend, Marty. We have people that are not exactly household names winning, people that are very well known in everybody's household, like the Team Force cars, losing, guys with 0.2 second reaction times winning, and guys with 0.009 reaction times losing. It's like the world spinning backwards.
Well, let's get caught up on what's happened so far. Let's show you what happened in Top Alcohol Dragster.
One of those not-so-household names, Jim Whiteley against Steve Federlin, who loves running here at this racetrack. Federlin out first, but Whiteley makes his career best run, 5:34, out of the 7th spot, a stunning opening round upset. Then Chris Demke, who wrapped up the Division 7 title for the 3rd straight time last week, a 0.2 reaction time. Spencer Massey with the injected car from Texas, 5:36, wins it on a hole shot. And then the guy that's had a marvelous season. He won Indy, he's the Lucas Oil champ. Bill Riker came in as the number 2 qualifier. It's one of the few things that went to form. Joey Severance gave him a 0.009 shot out of the gate, but that Rizlone car, like a runaway freight train, tracked him down and got the win.
All right, let's take a look at our second round matchups, and you'll see that it's Mark Niver with the lane choice over Dave Harada. Then it's Spencer Massey with the lane choice over Garrett Bateman. On the other side, Bill Reichert has the lane choice, as does Sean O'Bannon. Let's get caught up on what happened in first round action of Top Alcohol Funny Car.
Same deal here, some big upsets. Brian Houck came in as the number 2 qualifier, as one of the hottest guys in the class, taken out by John Patton. Wild ride for Brian, holds on, but John goes 5:77. The Arizona driver takes that foolish money car into the next round. Bernie Harrington, he's been running for a long while, but his best performance right here, he takes out Ron August, who's all over the racetrack, just did save it from going over the center line and hitting the wall. Bernie goes 5:81 and goes into the next round. And then Roger Bateman, who might be the hottest guy in this class right now, takes out the National Guard car. Bateman coming off the win at the Lucas Oil Drag Race Division 7 finale at Las Vegas, wins again right here, enjoying a career year. Great win for the Canadian team.
So let's take a look at our second round matchups. It'll be Mark Wozniak with lane choice, as does David Ray on one side of the equation. Then on the other side, it's John Patton and Dennis Taylor with the lane choice there. Let's bring in the third member of our group. Here's Dave Reef.
And one of the intriguing things about the Automobile Club of Southern California NHRA Finals is, what does the future of Ashley Force hold? She was eliminated in round number 1 by Mark Niver, but the rumors continue to circulate about her impending move to the professional ranks in a Nitro funny car. Did we just witness Ashley Force in the seat of the Jerry Darian and Ken Meadows car for the last time? We will have to wait and find out by the time we get back to Pomona next February, but it will be decided, certainly, by then, guys.
David?
The answer is yes.
Yeah, I think we're going to see her there. I think she wants to do it. I think they want to do it. I think they've got some laundry they got to put together as far as sponsorship packages, and other than that, it's ready to go. Let's talk now about John Patton and Doug Gordon.
Very interesting. Doug Gordon has not had a typical Doug Gordon season. John Patton coming off a very good run in the opening round. When you take out the number 2 qualifier, Brian Houck, you got a pretty good race car. Performance-wise, Doug's about 5 or 6 hundredths better. But John Patton, when you start to get on one of those rolls at the race, sometimes you just feel like it's your time. He's got Steven Neese helping him out with the race car. Good, solid effort so far this weekend for the runner from Arizona.
Boy, this was all Doug Gordon. He was first off the line by a ton. An 0.46 to a 1.67 light for John, and then runs it through at 5.64.
Yeah, that was absolutely all the Gordon family. Anytime your first number in your reaction time is a straight number, like, well, a 1, that's not good. Then John just decides, you know what, I'm too far behind. Let's let Doug go on down the racetrack. Be a nice way for Doug and his dad and all the folks and the Minor brothers helping him out there to be able to take this thing and wrap up their 06 seeds. And it's been a tough place. I went to the Division 7 race in Las Vegas last week. 24 cars trying to make what turned out to be the quickest field ever out there. So these guys are coming in battle tests. It's been tough about 10 days for most of these cars out here in the West Coast.
And that's Dennis Taylor completing his burnout over in the right lane. That'll be our second pair. Alongside will be Roger Bateman.
Yeah, this is an interesting matchup. I've mentioned a couple of times that Roger Bateman may be the most improved car in the class this year. Owned by the Dennis from up there in Calgary. They went to that Division 7 race last week, won the race, had an engine blow up in the second round, had great help from people coming in to help them out. Joey Severance's team helped him out. Hank Coolidge, a lot of friends got him back in. And, of course, Taylor also trying to run well here at his home track for the folks from Plumbing Concepts.
Well, let's check in at the far end with Dave Reef.
And as Bob talked about, it's been a tough 10 days, especially with that divisional race out in Las Vegas. But I'll tell you what, that had an exclamation point type ending to it, that race.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you said right there, but I'm pretty excited about that win. It's been a long time since we've been going any rounds, and I'm excited.
564 is a wire-to-wire deal. You're pretty amped up on the starting line, too.
64, that's good. That's good. We got this new MBR and Minor Brothers Racing engine that's, I think, starting to work for us, so awesome.
You get the impression everybody's just getting a little tired.
Here's a good race car right here. Dennis Taylor, all the folks from Plumbing Concepts. It's their home track. They've got a suite in the tower, folks in the grandstand, and Dennis is going back-to-back 60s here, qualifying in the opening round. It's been a tough season for Dennis, who finished top 10 in the Lucas Oil points last year. I talked to his team earlier, and right now they're as confident as they've been in a long while. The great crew chief, Ora Vasquez, tells them to go out there and get it, but it's going to be an interesting battle. Roger Bateman and that team, Brian Friesen, the car owner, Ken Murray, the crew chief over there right now. I'm not saying it's a flawless performer right now, but it's a very, very good race car.
Great drag race, and the win by Roger Bateman. 5.74 seconds to a 5.76, and he had to drive around him because Dennis was first off the line.
Yep, couple of hundredths advantage for Dennis Taylor off the starting line. That's one of those you'll sit back and think about the rest of the season. Dennis seemed to sashay a little bit down there in the low ranges, got very near the center line, straightens it out at the top end of the racetrack. It's like a couple of thousandths of a second. So the team out of Calgary, Alberta, right there, the Nobel Smile Company team, wins it by just about that much.
As we head to break, there it is, 53 ten-thousandths of a second. Stay with us. The NHRA Lucas Oil Sportsman Series on ESPN Speed World. Brought to you by Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive. And back here at Auto Club Raceway as we are into second round action here in Top Alcohol Funny Car in our final event of the 2006 campaign. We've already seen Doug Gordon and Roger Bateman take win lights. You see the track temperature very manageable at 91 degrees. We get ready now for David Ray in the right lane, Bernie Harrington in the left.
Great story. Ran into David Ray and the team. Of course, Jay Blake, the blind owner of this race car. Ran into it at the museum last night. I said, hey, Jay, how you doing? First thing he said was, Bob, I love your shirt. I went, that's a great sense of humor for a guy that's blind, you know. And they're really happy with the performance of this race car. They've come west for the last couple of years. The Permatex, the Fast Orange team car. Right now, of course, they've run out of the Division 1 area, and that's a tough place to make a living with Bob Newberry, Paul Gill, Frank Manzo. There's Jay up on the starting line. The guys enjoyed themselves over at the museum. Loves the history of this sport. He's had a good season. They've won a race. He's gotten married, and he's got a great sense of humor, too. It's a really good race car. Bernie Harrington looking to go to the semifinals with that race car basically all himself. It's a strong running race car to the 12 spot, but might be down about a tenth right now in power to David Ray on a perfect run. Well,
something happened to Bernie Harrington's car as you saw David Ray just pull away. 5.65 the elapsed time at 2:56. Let's check in with Dave Reef.
Roger Bateman, when you've been as quick as a 5.63 this weekend and then go 5.74, do you know that you're possibly in trouble?
We're always in trouble. It's not just now. But we've had an issue with some timers, and we thought we'd fixed it. We probably haven't. We'll just go back, and we got to fix it. The other guys are fast.
You mentioned you could see him out there.
Oh, it was side by side. We're looking at each other. I don't know. You can't tell who's won. We came down to see which way we had to turn at the bottom.
Dennis Taylor told us he was leaning forward, trying to get that extra half a smile that he needed to beat Roger Bateman, but he didn't get it done.
Did not, as it's going to be Roger's run into the semifinals. And as we get ready for Hank Coolidge and Mark Wozniak, let's go back and take one more look at that last run.
Yeah, very good, solid run for David Ray and that team. Bernie starts drifting over, then you saw the pipes go dry, probably dropped the blower belt on that thing. Very good run. We've seen a 5.64 by the West Coast team. We've now seen a 5.65 by the East Coast team. And that is like right down the center of the groove right. That is a very good run. Bernie Harrington, the runner out of California, claimed Division 5 last year running, and you'll see the car right there, the cylinders dropping, butterflies go closed, car's dead in the water, and all he could do was sit and enjoy the view as David Ray went on down and goes to the semifinals.
And as you take a look at the new luxury suites, top Auto Club Raceway, let's quickly check in with Dave Reef.
Down with Dave Ray and the Follow a Dream team, and well, it hasn't exactly been a dream as of late, but seems like it's coming around with a nice 65 there.
65? Yeah, awesome. We were shooting for 65. Tommy hit it dead on. We've been having a little bit of problems with the car. We went to Vegas, didn't qualify. We took everything apart. On the fuel pump, I think we got the hot rod back. And I know we got the hot rod back.
Let's remember, that's not the important thing either. Jay Blake isn't certainly an inspiration to all of us.
All right, thanks, Dave. Let's get ready now for Mark Wozniak and Hank Coolidge.
Yeah, Hank's very good running team out of Montana right there. The Woz, when he is hitting on, this is a 550 race car. That's when you start to separate the men from the boys. And of course, Frank Manzo with those 540 barrages we saw earlier, but the Woz is on. He's just tough to beat as there is out here.
My. Hank was setting up a campsite. 2:16 on the reaction time is going to get you fried, and then he realized it. 5.75 the elapsed time for the Woz as he moves into the semis.
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup. You got California against New England, and then you got California against Canada in the semifinals. Didn't think a 5.75 would be good enough to win that one, but Hank Coolidge stumbled a bit and slowed to a 9.52, but still a good year for the team from Montana.
Take a look at our top alcohol funny car ladder, and it'll be David Ray and Doug Gordon with the lane choices in semifinal action. And when we come back, it'll be time for Top Alcohol Dragster, and we've got a special guest in the booth. Ashley Force will be joining us. Stay with us. Back here at the Lucas Oil Sportsman Drag Racing Series, our final event of the year. Before we talk more about Alcohol Dragster, let's go to the far end to Dave Reef.
Down with the Woz, who's into the third round, I guess, which would be the semis now, courtesy of a 5.75. Going up against the number 16 qualifier, though, that snuck an upset earlier. I guarantee that's something you probably don't take for granted.
Oh, you never take nobody for granted. I mean, everybody's tough out here. If you got this far, you know how tough it is.
What are you going to have to do to step up?
Actually, it was running pretty good. I probably knocked in second load quick and just started to rattle the tire, so I shifted, but never saw him. So we'll take that one. I'd like to thank the Rancho Framing Whitecap crew. They're doing pretty good out there.
Sounds good. Congratulations.
And as we come back, take a look at our ladder. You can see the arrow indicates who has lane choice. The first matchup we have is Bill Reichert in the right lane, Jim Whiteley in the left lane, and joining us in the booth is Ashley Force. Ashley, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, before we talk about your situation, let's watch this race. Boy, even with a drop cylinder, Bill Reichert still manages to go 5.31 in the elapsed time. Oh my gosh, his speed was only 259.
Yeah, that thing was dropping cylinders from the moment he hit the throttle. Jim Whiteley and that Why Not team with the Strasburg family had been running very well, but you're down again. It's a 0.1 for the first number in the reaction time. 5.31 would have been a monster run, although the Whiteley team ran 5.34 over this weekend for a supercharged car at this racetrack. Pretty impressive performance, but Bill Reichert looking to run the table. One Indy, he's going to be the Lucas Oil champ. Finish out the season with a championship here today.
Ashley, let's take a look at Jim Whiteley's run. Did you see anything?
Well, I was looking at Bill Reichert's run because he has an amazing car, but anyone that goes up against Reichert knows they're going to have to throw everything at it. And that was a good race. He came around him at the end.
You're asking somebody that drives an injected car to take a look at the supercharged car. It's like they don't even exist in their mind.
Yeah, that's like a whole other species.
Yeah, it really is. But you got to be impressed with what Bill Reichert's done this season. For what you run in the A-Fuel car, you got a great team, and to watch the numbers that he's put out, that's been an impressive race car.
Well, I think any other driver and team can side with me on this. Yeah, we hate losing, and they are competitors, but it is sure exciting to go up and watch, even if it's not your own car, someone else hitting those great speeds and ETs.
Let's go to Dave Reef.
Now, Bill Reichert, you knew from the step that thing was in trouble, perhaps.
Yeah, it felt a little bit funny. Down track especially, it lost a cylinder or two, and I was just hoping I could stay ahead of him.
To close out Pomona, what's been a storybook year, what would it mean?
That would mean everything. You know, I mean, a win at Pomona would really top it off.
Baby Gracie would probably like that as well.
All right, thanks, Dave. Yeah, there's the pictures on the side of the car as we come back. I want to ask you about this next matchup. Mark Niver's in the left lane, Dave Harada in the right lane. Niver put you out. What happened in that run?
I shook pretty hard, and when we shook it broke some things, and we weren't able. I stepped back on it, but its cylinders dropped, and he was on a wonderful run. I think he ran 34. So, you know, I would have had to have something amazing happen to get around him with a perfect run like that.
Mark Niver's got a car that is unlike anything else that's out there. He basically built everything on the race car himself. It is unique. Going to take on Dave Harada. The family came out of the #1 spot, coming from back east. Then they run 580s in the first round and got away with it. I saw him at the museum last night looking at one of the old twin-engine cars called the Tooth Thing, and I told him, you know what kind of ETs they used to run? They said, what? I went, 580. They turned around and they hit me. I said, you know, 580s could win for them. Maybe it could win for you. This will be an interesting matchup because that's a great race team there, that Mark Niver, isn't it, Ashley?
It is, and he's a good guy, and he gave me a hug at the end of the track after the race. But Harada, we've seen him in qualifying. He made an amazing run too, so it should be a good race. I think what happens on the track.
Mark Niver's a little more consistent of the two. Harada's a team that's been down in the low 520s and can go into the 5-teens if it's hitting on all 8 all the way down. The operative word there being if.
Well, take a look at the run. Dave Harada takes the win light, 5.33 seconds to a 5:38 elapsed time for Mark Niver. So the #1 qualifier moves into the semifinals.
Yeah, it's interesting. The Harada team really enjoyed coming out here on this weekend and getting some help from the folks at Torco. Haven't been in the winner's circle in a couple of years, but came out there. 2 cars, a slight advantage for Dave Harada out of the gate. When you're trying to track down the #1 qualifier, Ashley, when he's out of the gate first, it's going to be a tough run.
It is. You don't want to be seeing him make a great run. You want him not in your vision at all, period.
These cars were running like 222 at half track. We've seen Bill Reichert push that 230 mark. What's good for one of these injected cars at the 8th mile?
I don't know all the numbers. I'm not going to lie. Jerry goes over them with me. I know the 60-foot times. I know what our car runs. I don't know about the other teams, but I know we've had trouble this year on the first half of the run and picked up speed at the end. But that's sometimes the trick is that first 100 feet.
Yep.
If you can get out there in front of them, it's going to be tough for someone to catch up to you.
Overall, how would you have rated your year this season?
My first rookie year, we had a lot of luck. My second year had a lot of trouble. So this year really showed that, you know, my team came together and we held up for each other. When the car wouldn't perform, I'd get good on the light, and when I'd screw up the light, my car would be there for me. So I had a great time. Jerry, you know, he's taught me a lot and is still teaching me, and these cars are quick. You know, they're not as quick as the Top Fuel cars, but they get your attention. I've been doing it 3 years, and it's still, every launch is an eye-opener, and you hold your breath the whole run.
All right, let's check in again with Dave Reef.
Hey, Dave Harada, you chopped a half a second out of that thing. What happened in that first round for the thing to slow so much?
We had some issues with our mags. You know, I got to say, I've been waiting all year to talk to you guys and praise my crew. They worked so hard this weekend, and then you know, Evan Knoll, Torco, Skullshine, you know, and GK, everyone that supports us. I got to say thank you, everyone at home. I got the greatest crew, but hey, we get another win. You know, every win's just a better day, you know. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
5:33.
With that look, it's hard to believe. Dave and I get confused for each other a lot in the pits.
Oh.
Happens a lot.
I can't understand that.
I was wondering, why was he announcing when he was up to run?
That's incredible.
All right, let's get ready for Brandon Pierce in the left lane. Sean O'Bannon in the right lane.
That's a bad dude. I told the O'Bannon team we missed him down at the Virginia race where everybody put up those monster runs, including Ken Perry and Marty Thacker in the supercharged cars. Arguably the best blown car right now, although if you go back and take a look at what the guys ran, mid-520s at Virginia with a supercharged car, puts them right in the ballpark with all the injected cars.
Well, you saw O'Bannon go up in tire smoke, and then Pierce runs 5.31 seconds at 255 miles an hour. Can you tell they're happy?
Well, they ought to be. That's the quickest and fastest that car has ever run. They struggled for a bit, been mired in the 540s, checked in with a low 541 in qualifying. Just ran 531, 255. Big speed there at half track, too, at 223 for that race car. They took out Sean O'Bannon. There was no doubt about that. That was a wire-to-wire job.
And as we take a look at it again, Pierce is going to have lane choice over Reichert by 3/1000ths of a second. Did you notice any difference in the lanes?
Not yesterday when I was racing, but I know in the funny car fields, they were talking a lot about it. So there must, today is a different day. It must be of importance.
Oh, by the way, we wanted to let you know that we've already announced that you're running funny car next year.
Did you tell my dad?
No. Tell them to watch the show. Tell them to check your local listings. Look at that nasty tire shake for Sean O'Bannon. We've seen very little of that here with the race cars. Of course, the supercharged cars, as aggressive as they are off the starting line, a lot more prone to that. But that's a top-of-the-line team, Art. I'm surprised to see him do that.
Yeah, and to give you fair shake here, we said that the team's leaning that way.
Okay.
Do you want to go official now and say that you can't go on a record?
We didn't say leaning. I said you're going to do it. So
with our team, we changed ideas so much. I'm going to wait till first round of Winter Nationals and just see which car I climb into. That'll be exciting.
You mentioned tire shake, that you had yesterday. In the funny car that you've been testing, have you gotten into the really severe tire shake there?
Yeah, we've had a couple, but I actually had the worst tire shake ever in my dragster a few weeks ago, and I never felt anything like that, and it shattered my teeth, where I came back and thought, I'm getting a mouth guard. I don't care what car I'm in next year. So, which I was a little surprised because I would have expected it more from the fuel funny car.
It's really interesting. I'm surprised that anybody running in any of the fuel classes would not be running with a mouth guard. I mean, it's almost mandatory, I think, for what you're going to do. It's a no-brainer to wear it. It doesn't, obstruct anything. And the drivers that have gone through that nasty tire shake will tell you how important they can be.
Let's quickly go to Dave Reef.
Brandon Pierce, let me help you slide into a 5:31 255. How good a run is that?
That's awesome.
Kind of surprised you a little bit that it was that good?
Yeah, O'Bannon was going to be tough, and I knew it. So
it looked like there was possibly a cylinder out at about the 1,000-foot mark, too. Did you kind of feel it push a little bit?
I felt it push around a little, but all I cared about is getting that wind light, getting around him, keeping ahead, get the wind light. So this is awesome. I want to thank Baby Girl 1, Sooner 1 team, and all my sponsors. So hopefully we'll get the next round.
Rear best 18 mile an hour. That's a little icing on the cake.
Here comes Garrett Bateman. Off of that big win at the Division 7 race last week. They had the best car. Not on this run.
And Spencer Massey is going to take the win. He goes 001 on the tree and then runs 5.30 in the elapsed time at 269 miles an hour. And I guess that's why we run the race.
It's a 001 like a really good leave, Ashley, or a guess?
I've sure never been close to that. Spencer, though, he's known for having awesome lights every time out on the track.
Yeah,
I don't know what he's doing, but all of his drivers want to know how we can do it as well.
Now the big O team machine, Bill Windham and Greg Mitchell on that team, and Javid Maruzic, the crew chief. They had a great race last weekend to outlast a field of over 24 race cars, be in the winner's circle. But Spencer Massey right now at 5.30, almost 270 miles an hour. There's nothing fluky about that race car, Marty. It hits on all 8. Not a threat to run the teens, at least not yet, but that's a race car that can go the distance.
Spencer Massey will have lane choice, as will Brandon Pierce. And Ashley, we say thanks for stopping by and good luck next year in that funny car.
Thank you so much for having me. You guys are too much fun.
Yeah, we'll tell Dad.
yeah, we're going to tell Dad. Hey, Dad, in case you didn't know, here it is. We got to take a break. Stay with us. We're coming back to Pomona. This telecast is available on ESPN2 HD, presented by Olivia. It is a crystal clear day. That's the San Gabriel Mountains off into the distance. And from the far end of the racetrack here at Auto Club Raceway, you can see we have a great crowd on hand, and we have had some great racing so far. And we've got more on the way as we are into semifinal action now in Top Alcohol Funny Car with Mark Wozniak in the left lane, David Ray in the right lane.
I'm glad you didn't look at that one mountain and look at me and say the name of that is Mount Baldy, because I was coming over there after you. I appreciate that.
Let's take a look at the ladder, and you can see that Ray has the lane choice, and Doug Gordon will have the lane choice in our second matchup.
It's going to be a very interesting matchup right here because, to me, Marty, there is no real clear-cut favorite. These two cars, from a strictly performance point of view this season, are the two best cars still out there. They've been down there in the 550s. By the way, I just talked to Frank Manzo, who's in the house, getting set to accept his 10th Lucas Oil Championship, and he was bored. I said, you've been watching the races? It drives me crazy if I'm not running. But the Rancho Framing White Cap Team Machine, great companies that have supported Mark Wozniak and his brother for a long while, Jerry. They got a very good, solid race car coming out of the number 9 spot. David Ray and the East Coast team. Anytime you go and win one, what I call the majors, they went down to Florida. They were the last man standing down there. Got the help again for the second consecutive year from Permatex and Fast Orange to come out here. Top 10 finisher last year. Loved to close out on a high note. Came very close last year. Just missed half a round. Closing the deal. Those are the names again of the soldiers. They went down there to the Army Hospital in Washington. What a great story that is. And for crew chief who is blind to give so much back, that really is a great story.
And of course, this race takes place on the same weekend as Veterans Day. So the salute to all our vets. Oh, what a great drag race. And take a look. David Ray in a hole shot. 5.70 seconds to the quicker, but losing 5.64.
It's amazing. I've seen more reaction times beginning with a .1 today than I think we've seen in any race throughout the rest of the season. Mark Wozniak, a very good driver, and just was distracted or the car didn't react. Hit the throttle, runs a quicker last time down the racetrack, but the timers don't start until the driver moves on the line. Advantage out of the gate, David Ray, and he gets the win for the second consecutive year. The team from all the way back in the East Coast coming here. There again, the Rancho Framing White Cap team car. Little wiggle down there from a performance standpoint. It still was the better race car, but half a car length. That follow a dream car is going to follow the route right back to the starting line for the money round here today.
And that'll bring us to our second semifinal. That's Doug Gordon over in the left lane. We always refer to it driver's left, driver's right, and in the right lane, the white car, it's Roger Bateman.
With a brand new engine combination, you heard Doug make reference to that after the second round. Roger Bateman and the team, they had a very erratic car at the beginning of the year, got the chassis straightened out, came on down from the Topeka race on, ran very well, but they've got a little electrical gremlin or something again today that's got them about 1/10 of a second down in this run.
Let's check in with Dave Reef at the far end.
I'm sure Dave Ray's going to want a little bit more than a 570, but you did your job on the starting line. 70 beats a 64.
Awesome. That is pretty cool. I want to thank Permatex for giving us opportunity with all this help they've been giving us. The Follow Dream team is coming through, and it's so fun being here.
Especially in Pomona. What does it mean to be in a final out here where it all began?
Oh, this is cool. We were here last year. I kind of screwed up in the end and red lighted, but hopefully I can pull it off this time.
Got your opportunity.
He's going to take on either the homeboy, Doug Gordon, the pride of the Division 7, the Morrow Bay Cabinets team, and right there, the Nobel Smile Team Company, like we said, owned by Dennis from up in Calgary, running very well. But if they don't get that glitch, and he didn't give any indication as to what it was, that's Ken Murray, the crew chief. Been doing this for about 25 years, but they had a good race car. Doug Gordon, the better of the two in that last round, and unless Roger is good off the line, unless they found a mechanical problem, he'll be spectating in the final round.
Whoa, a 001 for Bateman. And he gets a whole shot win. 5.67 seconds at 2:55 to a 5:65 for Doug Gordon.
Isn't that amazing? 001. 000 is perfect. So 1,000th away from perfect. Neither a really good guess or, as the great Warren Johnson says, a bad job of fouling. But the end result is 2 races, 2 semis, 2 all shots, 2 winners. And right here, you're going to take a look at that Chevrolet. It's a good performance. They're going to have lane choice in the final over David Ray. Picked up almost a 10th in the earlier round, but still going to probably need a little bit more going into that championship round. They win it by a car length, and Doug Gordon on the left side is going to be kicking himself. You hate to lose a race. You especially hate to lose it on a hole shot.
And as Bob mentioned, it is Roger Bateman with the lane choice. When we come back, it'll be time for Top Alcohol Dragster semifinals. Stay with us. Back here at the Lucas Oil Sportsman Drag Racing Series at Auto Club Raceway at Pomona. Final stop on the 2006 season. And before we get into Alcohol Dragster, let's check in with Dave. Put a period on Funny Car.
Roger, did that feel very anticipatory at the tree? It was a 001.
Even old guys wake up on time sometimes.
On time?
Doug's excellent. I knew the car, we had as good a car. I knew I had to get there and be as good as I could be, that's probably a red light that didn't happen.
But to be at a final, the same question I just asked Dave Ray in Pomona. Perfect. Does it get any better?
No, absolutely perfect. Thank you, man.
A very good race car this season, having a really nice time. There's a guy that's been running around the match races and involved in this class for the better part of the last 20 years. Track time's a little higher than we saw it earlier, but all these are injected cars, so everybody's playing from the same deck. Nobody's got a real advantage.
You know, I'm wondering if maybe part of the reaction time problem is, notice the sun, the way it is in the racer's eyes, especially if you're in that left lane.
Absolutely right. That always has been the problem right here. I know a lot of drivers, when they get to this point, even if you have lane choice, even if there's a perceived better lane, you can see it right there. It'll hit the driver in the left lane first. On the right side, you're looking away from it. That could really be a factor right here, Marty. We've talked about that before. Usually it doesn't happen until the later rounds, but you know, we've seen a lot of guys have problems right here. That could be the reason.
Well, the problem for Brandon Pierce on this one was not the sun, it was striking the tires, and he goes up in smoke, and then Bill Reichert runs it through at 5.35 seconds, and the speed's back up where we're used to seeing Bill at 273.
Yeah, he is just absolutely trying to put a cap on a spectacular year. All those things that he checked off on his to-do list, that is a good move off the starting line. He's better than 224 miles an hour at the 8th mile. Just a little bit of a bounce. The body panel's flexing, car hitting on all 8. Excellent run right there. 35 at 273. His car always runs the big speed. Brandon Pierce and the team who went to the finals, the divisional race at Noble a couple of weekends ago, just didn't have it right there. When you're running the champ, you got to bring your best to the starting line. And with these A fuel cars we've seen, Marty, the best is a fine line between running really well and smoking the tires.
And Bill at the far end of the track will check things out as he takes off the gloves and the helmet. We still have one more semifinal coming at you with Dave Harada and Spencer Massey. But before we talk more about them, let's go to the far end and check in again with Dave Reef.
As the helmet comes off, I will ask Bill Reichert if that pass felt a little bit more up to your snuff.
That one definitely felt better. The Rizlone car seemed to do pretty good on that run. They burned a head gasket on the run before, but we got that under control and got everything all back set. So.
Any drama in that turnaround, or is that a pretty simple fix for these guys?
Not for us, guys, because we got a limited crew, so we really have to work hard and fast to get it done in time.
But they are the champions.
Two guys that went to the finals last year on ESPN, Marty, in the alcohol funny car category, David Ray and Bill Reichert here, who both came up short last year with a chance now to finish this season on a high note.
And the side-by-side burnouts are complete for Spencer Massey, closest to you in the right lane, and then Dave Harada, the #1 qualifier, over in the left lane.
It was like talking about the Harada team because they've got such a great history in this sport. I mentioned before that his dad had the car that went to the finals at Indy in 1963. Talked to them earlier in the day. They really like the way the car is performing right now. I think they've got the problem solved. But right now they're in trouble getting this car into the reverse.
Yeah, that is not going back, and it's a big problem here for Dave Harada.
Those transmissions get locked up. You saw him trying to shake it, and of course the crew member is going to go out and try to help him out. Spencer Massey has had a lot of runs this year, Marty, where he's gone to the starting line and had to wait for the guy in the other lane, who then wind up staging, and Spencer shook the tires, smoked the tires. But I think they're just going to tell Dave Harada, A, either drive it all the way down the racetrack, or B, shut it off and get out of the race car so that Spencer can make the run. And Spencer's going to go to the money round here today.
A tough break for Dave Harada and the crew, as they will not get a chance to run here in the semifinals. He'll run it on down through, and underneath that helmet, a very disappointed Dave Harada.
Well, the interesting thing about it is, again, you can see them holding up this car. These A-fuel cars build up an awful lot of heat on the starting line, start to burn a lot of fuel, changes the whole weight configuration in the race car. Twice this season going into final rounds, we've seen it happen with Spencer, where the other guy had problems, wound up getting staged, and then he smoked the tires, and it cost him the race.
Remember, Reichert ran 5:35. That would be the number he has to beat to get lane choice. No problem. 5.32 the elapsed time at 268 miles an hour, so the delay did not hurt Spencer Massey one bit.
The interesting thing, he was not running the speed at half track. I watched the numbers come up. He's about 2 miles an hour slower than Bill Reichert at half track, but that car's got a nice, easy speed curve on it. Nice and smooth off the starting line. 948, 60 feet. They'd like to be maybe a couple of hundredths quicker than that, but this was almost like Bill Reichert's run. So it's a little bobble right there in about the middle part of the racetrack. Other than that, hitting on all 8 cylinders, flawless as he goes to the money round.
You know, I was looking with the way the sun was in that cockpit. You could see his eyes. He never blinked the entire quarter mile, and I don't blame him. All right, take a look at the semifinals as there are the matchups as we head to the dragster final with Spencer Massey with a 5:32 beating Bill Reichert's 5:35. Dave?
Spencer Massey on his way to the finals. How much concern did you have up there waiting, letting this car warm up, that clutch warm up?
Well, I was a little concerned. I kind of wouldn't have done it if it would have smoked the tires, but it made it. Hopefully it ran a mid-30 something, so we have something to go for Reichert. So I'm just happy we're going to the finals. I think we have it locked in the top 3 for the national points, so awesome year.
Then you ought to be happy that it ran a low 5:30, 5:32, and you now have lane choice.
Very nice. Woo! Powerade!
He's a happy guy and a reason to be as he's into the final. We've got one more break to take before we get to the final. Stay with us, we're coming back. Back here as the sun begins to set at Auto Club Raceway in the Lucas Oil Sportsman Series. Time for our finals in alcohol funny car and alcohol dragster.
Talked to the teams before they came up. Everybody seems happy. I asked if there was any difference in the lanes from one to the other, and nobody seemed to make any difference or said there was any difference, so it should be really good. David Ray, you heard him after that semifinal, Marty, talking about how he let one get away last year, and Roger Bateman's been so close, but we saw him down there at Topeka in a dynamite final round, and track temperature's as cool as it's been all weekend, and you got a lot of horsepower. Bring it to the starting line right now because you can use it.
So Roger will be over in the right lane, David Ray in the left lane. Has been a wild day of racing, both in the professional side and on the sportsman side. And we're about to conclude it here for 2006.
And 2 good race car drivers here. The veteran Roger Bateman at 61 years old. David Ray, just a kid coming out of the New England area at 49. Hooked up with Jay Blake a couple of years ago. They've been doing well. And Roger right now running for the doctor. That's the Brian Friesen-owned race car. And you can probably tell by the side of that he's a dentist. Got a picture of my prom date on the side there. Oh, no, that wasn't me. That was the cool guy that used to beat me up.
Oh, God.
This should be fun. Following a Dream is the absolute great line for that team, and it's going to be an interesting run. You hate to come to the finals 2 years in a row and let it get away, so let's see what kind of race car David Ray's got. He's going to need a, very strong run here to take out the Canadian team.
Oh, look out. Hold on. Well, I'll tell you what, David Ray gets the win, but man, all the action was with Roger Bateman. He crossed the center line. Both cars left very well.
Yeah, Ken Murray back there looking and thinking about what might have been. I haven't seen that car do that. Might have been something underneath the tires, or like we said, the track gets really good when it gets cool. Got to handle that power, get the wheel speed up. Jay always loves to go and kiss the starting line after he gets the win, and how about that? You let one get away last year, come back and do it this year. Let me tell you, you're talking about a team that's won Gainesville, they've won out here. You're talking about running with the big dogs in the class, and for everything that they've done, he does a lot of great public speaking coast to coast, gets some financial help, and you see Roger Bateman there over the center line. What a job to correct that thing. I mean, a lesser driver would have lost that. They've had a very good season. Roger won the race in Las Vegas last week, coming out here, but the better man and the better car in this one just got the win.
Let's go take one more look at it, because this really was a wild ride.
Yes, it was. And the car came off the starting line. I'm looking for any that really has that tire shake that sets in. Actually bounced the car off the ground in the back. And it comes down, you settle down, but the car's drifting, and then it gets sideways. Looks like one of those new drifting things that they have in their competitions, but that's a pretty good job. That Chevrolet Camaro, when you can see that smiling, those pearly whites on the side from the end of the racetrack, that's not a good thing. But the best year, the Roger Bateman, Brian Friesen, Ken Murray have had with that team.
I don't think that was Dave Reef, was it?
No, that was Dave Ray, and let's not understate the value of a Pomona win.
Oh, my God. We were running up here last year, and I let the guys down. I red-lighted. The thing rattled his tires out there, just short shifted, and it just went down the racetrack.
Here's Roger Bateman to offer his congratulations.
Oh, I want to thank Permatex for being behind us. They do an awesome job. Finally, we're as good as their product is, and that proves it right there. I want to thank the Follow Dream team. They're awesome. Jay, the whole crew. It is cool. Yeah!
You know what? If you can't get amped up about winning in Pomona, you might as well just, get another line of work.
Oh, that is great. And look, all the cell phones are humming. Hey, we won!
Isn't that a great deal? Just a nice team. You feel badly for Roger Bateman and that team, but they ran very well here during the course of the season. But like I said, David Ray, Jay goes out and does a lot of speaking to folks from Permatex and Fast Orange, who gave him the extra funding to come out to the West Coast, make some speeches along the way, and then he said, if I'm lucky, I'll just talk my way all the way back to New England after this weekend is over.
Well, we've got a second here waiting for the alcohol dragster final 2 cars to fire. Let's talk about our final NHRA today. It's going to be coming your way actually tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. And we'll have all the latest and final news for the final time in 2006. It'll be on ESPN2 and ESPN2 HD. So we're still waiting for engines to fire between, there they come to life.
Takes a while for these babies to warm up now, as cold as it gets. The track temperature we saw in the upper 70s, and the air temperature starting to really chill down. The sun goes down behind the mountains, gives us the racetrack back, and with 2 very good race cars here, we should see a low ET here in the final round. Bill, like David Ray, let one get away in the final round last year. He has not done that often this season, but he's had a career year. Won at Indy, Lucas Oil World Championship, got the new sponsorship with the folks from Rizlone, and he's just living a dream. Love to close it out with a win right here.
Look at this. This is the celebration at the far end continuing. I have a feeling this party may go well into the night.
Well, when you, first of all, you got to figure they came 2,500 miles here, so that's not an easy job right there. They came out, they qualified well, they ran well. We didn't see any of those 550s that I really thought we might see here this weekend, especially at the end of the day, but they did what they had to do, won 4 rounds.
Let's go back to Dave Ray.
Jay Blake shares a moment now with Dave Ray. And Jay, how about this weekend?
Just awesome. The whole team worked together. They've been fighting all year, and Permatex and Fast Orange, and we kept it stuck together, and hands are clean. And you know, last year we were here and it didn't work out this way, and this year the guy brought it right home.
You spent this week being nostalgic over there, taking in all the history at the NHRA Motorsports Museum. You just made it at the most historic place.
Yes, we did.
So awesome.
Yep, we're making history.
Nicely done. Congrats.
You know, it's interesting that it's such a good team, and after the loss last year, I remember them. They were just devastated. You look at the beautiful sunset here, and a lot of guys would like to hook up with that team because they know Jay's got good equipment, he's got some good financial help. Standing behind David Ray, committed to him, and that's the stuff that builds championship teams.
All right, let's get ready for Spencer Massey in the right lane. Bill Riker in the left lane. Red light for Spencer. And Bill is going to celebrate, and my, did he celebrate in style. 5.26 seconds, 2:74.
Yeah, Spencer Massey fouled out by 1/1000th of a second. I mean, it might as well be a mile. I know the end result's the same thing. With that big red light shining back on you, and Spencer will remember this season. He's had some very good runs into the final round. Going to finish way up in the Lucas Oil World Championship points. The really good thing about it, or maybe the only good thing about it, Marty, the guy in the other lane just ran a great run. 5:26, booming speed, better than 274 miles an hour. It's going to be one of the top runs of the day, both ET and speed-wise. As a matter of fact, for the entire weekend. You'd hate to have a red light start and then have the other guy smoke the tires or something of that nature. So Bill Riker, the Rizlone Team Machine, ends the season as the champ and checked off everything on his list. Won Indy, won the championship, and won out here in Pomona.
And now the tough part is, how do you match that for next year?
You know, there's been talk that he might retire. Maybe Dave will ask him about that. I know he loves racing. He had that goal. He's been doing this for a long while. Had some devastating accidents a few years back, and to come back and win the championship, be interesting to see if indeed he decides to come back next year.
David?
Well, this would be the time if Bill Reichert is going to retire. I tell you what, a year where you win Indianapolis, you win the finals, collect a championship. What do you anticipate?
I'm definitely going to be around next year. This is just way too much fun. It's just way too much fun to quit. We've thought about that. Even a few years ago, told my wife that I'd retire when we won the championship, but that ain't so.
It's funny how success kind of makes you want to go on, isn't it?
Yes, it's just way too much fun. The Rizlone car just performed flawlessly. What did it run on that run?
I believe it went 5:26, 2:74.
Cool. That's great. That's just what we was hoping for. They red lit over there, which I guess that sewed it up. But anyways, we still run a good race. And I'm really happy to have Barsleeks and Rizlone as our sponsor. They do wonderful for us. They're going to be on the car next year. We got a 3-year deal with them, so we're going to have Rizlone and Barsleeks on the car for some time.
It's just like when you bogey the 18th hole in golf, Marty. You kind of want to keep going, don't you?
Thanks. You've seen my game.
Yeah,
you had to rub that in.
Double bogey, sorry.
Oh, now it's getting worse.
You'll be going forever if that's the case.
That's for sure.
All
All right, we've got to take one last break, and we've got still more to talk about at the Lucas Oil Sportsman Drag Racing Series. Look out, duck. The NHRA Lucas Oil Sportsman Series on ESPN Speed World. Brought to you by Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive. And back here at Auto Club Raceway at Pomona, that's that wild ride we saw just a few moments ago. And as we get ready to close things out, let's check in with the competition eliminator final.
It's going to be Alan Ellis, one of the big A. Aldridge cars, and Jeff Taylor, the reigning Lucas Oil champ. He's going to give up that #1 plate to his teammate, Bo Butner. He'd love to win the final round here. He's pound for pound, dollar for dollar, one of the best there is. Oh, and this baby's over right on the starting line. Alan Ellis fouled out, and Jeff Taylor is going to get the win and finishes his championship season by giving up that #1 plate to his teammate, but he won the race. Now let's take a look at the other Lucas Oil Sportsman winners from Pomona.
And as we take a look at those other 4 Sportsman winners, the guy on the bottom of the screen, Gary Stinnett, was trying to double up. He won in Super Comp, but Brad Plord took the Super Stock title in the final over Gary. In Super Gas, we want to send congratulations out to Wayne Newman, and in Stock, it was Dan Fletcher taking home the Wally. Time now for this week's edition of the Lucas Oil Sportsman Spotlight. We visit Super Stock racer Gary Howell. Howell drives one of the better looking cars out there, a 55 Chevy 210 sedan. It's reliable, it's quick, and Howell says it gets a lot of looks around the pits.
The 55 Chevy is a classic fan favorite. Everybody loves one. Everybody had one as a part of their life at some point. A lot of folks did. And so I get guys from all over the country that stop by and take a look and ask me if they can tech it out. And I say, of course, enjoy the car. That's what we do, and that's what it's for. And we just get an awful lot of fan interest from it. I am a national record holder in this car. We set the national record this year in Acton, Montana, Yellowstone drag strip. And it is an altitude track, and the record was set at 11:26. This car has had 3 previous national records at various times, and so it is a very fast car, and the combination works really well.
And it is a great looking piece. A reminder, tomorrow, tune in to ESPN2 for our final NHRA Today. You'll be able to see it at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Well, that's going to do it for us. We're going to close out the 2006 season. We'll tell you that coming up next right here on ESPN2, it'll be college football prime time. For Bob Fry, Gary Gerald, I'm Marty Reed. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Lucas Oil Sportsman Drag Racing Series. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. It's been a great 2006. Who knows? We'll hope that 2007 will be better, not only in drag racing, but for you as well. Thanks for going down that quarter mile with us. So long, everybody.